Okay, welcome also on my behalf. We are starting to get to the end of the day, but in the next 10 plus minutes, I'm going to talk about human-in-the-loop AI. What does it mean? And how to use it for your benefit together with your customer as well as for your customer's benefit. Silo.Ai is an AI development company that works for customers, so we don't develop own products, but help our customers to develop AI, whether that is in the financial sector, industrial sector, or health sector. So we are all-around company, around 20 PhDs, data scientists, AI expert, and then also some other masters and other companies, over 30 people altogether. But then to the topic, I start with this conceptually simple picture how AI kind of works or can describe to be worked. That you have your business goal, whether it is detecting cancer cells, you need the data, historical data, in order to train the AI. So AI is actually stupid in that sense that you need to first train it, and that's why the race towards the getting the training data and who will actually benefit most of the available data. And then you have your algorithms, neural networks, or something else where the data scientists actually work to then train the data and making it to work, and then you get your output. But the interesting thing starts actually that most of the AI systems today are they are trained, taken into use, and they run there without not really learning anything. But I think the big transformation and benefit of AI is coming from the learning loop, where the experts that are working together with the AI actually teaching AI further. If you get the output predicting the sales, next day you know what were your sales, and experts can actually give inputs and explain it to the AI that what were the factors and where did you got it wrong. And once you get enough of the people to do that, you actually start to use your organization to kind of get the hidden knowledge from the experts into the AI and make it better. And when you multiply this to your customers, I think you have a huge benefit of leveraging people and experts around not only your own organization, but around with your customer organizations as well. Talking about AI and business, everybody is racing for the business model transformation, which is easier said than done. But here is an example of an explosive company called Orica. It's an Australian company that is helping mines and other places to explode and rock into smaller pieces. So they were a manufacturing company. But their experts know exactly how to actually lay out that explosive into this, in this case for an open mine. And there was a lot of expertise. They started to collect data, how this was done, what was the target, what was the explosives and the methodology used, and what was the outcome. After a while, they got enough data. They coded their expert know-how into machine learning algorithms or teach the machine learning to learn that skills. And they opened a service called Blast IQ to their customers. Now, every explosion that is done using this service where their customers are using it will bring them more data, and in this way they have actually scaled their expert know-how into global service. I think any company who is kind of thinking about, hey, we have an expert know-how, we might be a manufacturing company today, can we actually scale that human mind, our expert know-how, or will we be the one who will actually be overtaken by some other company who does that before us? So this is the business model transformation. By the way, this case is documented in the Harvard Business Review if somebody's interested to read more about their transformation. Then human in the loop, what we mean by that? It's that when an AI makes a prediction, let's say that they are predicting a fraud, which has been in the public press lately. In the finance sector, you have fraud, you pay to people who you should not pay, a simple rule-based case. You pay to a vendor that was not approved, a simple rule-based case. But more sophisticated fraud is hard to spot, but AI can detect anomalies, it flags it to the human, who in this case checks what is happening and either determines this was a real fraud case, we need to flag it to authorities, or this was an error, or this was okay case. In this way, human expert is teaching the AI. They are labeling data, if you wish. And every time they do that, the model learns from that one and improves its accuracy and capabilities. And one expert, of course, will make mistakes. There will be errors. But when you scale this into hundreds, tens of thousands of your customer people who are helping you to generate more input to your AI, this is how you actually make AI to work for people and help the people to focus on a more value-adding cases and release them from routine work. So this is what we call a human-in-the-loop AI. And I think any company who has plenty of people doing expert work has the possibility to use AI in this way and make their processes better. The challenge is how do you roll this kind of system out and start to change, maybe with the specific use case first and then expanding from there. The data is really there is a saying that the data is the new oil because it's stuffy, it's hard to handle, but once you burn it or use it for other purposes in your car, it really powers the world. Data is in a similar way. It's very difficult. Data is the biggest problem of AI. Whether it is that you start from the technical problems, that first of all, legacy SAP system, hard to get the data dump. There are a number of systems where you really, even though it sounds simple that we have all the data, but it's really hard to get it out. There would be actually need for a data operator who would integrate into the legacy system and provide this service for other companies. Data is not labeled, so there is no meaning, there's no metadata. You might have a huge amount of data, but how do you create meaning for that one in order to use it for the training AI? It's one of the biggest problems, and that's why usually preparing the data takes a lot of time. And then we discuss a lot about internal data, but very often you should actually, hey, you got what you got inside, but let's look at the outside, whether it is as simple as weather data, news, events, whatever, which you can take and start to use it to enrich your current data. Then we have the legal part, which is interesting one that, of course, GDPR regulating personal data, how it can be used. It's the basics what you have. But with AI, you also start to have situations where you actually do have too much data, because it would be so interesting to use the payment history of a person in an insurance company. If you have a sick insurance, for example, or any insurance, and you are determining that should I pay this claim or not? Okay, the person hasn't paid their claims recently, so I could use that information, but based on the legal grounds, I actually cannot. I need to exclude that from the AI algorithm decision making. So you need to very carefully consider what data can you really use to make decisions, and I believe there will be more work for lawyers who are settling out that what data was really used to make decisions. Then you have the business part, where usually we actually train with the historical data which is available. And as an example, if you want to train your recruitment process by, say, that who should we call for an interview out of these thousands of people who applied for the job, you train it with the historical data. Of course, if you have been recruiting persons who are very systematic and thorough, and you suddenly want to change your strategy to get really innovative people, I think your AI is in trouble. So you really need to think about that, what's your business strategy, how does the past data fit into that one. And then the final one, the ethical and moral that was already discussed, that the data is usually biased, is as good as the organization who has created it is. And how do we correct for the biases, how do we detect them and correct them is a critical question for AI going forward. The last point I wanted to talk about today is interpretability of data. How do you explain what's going on? And I don't think it's necessary for every person to learn that how the neural network works and how the AI in deep learning is working. But when we think about how AI makes decisions, here is a simple, almost trivial example that you have the AI model, you have the the data that goes in this case it is about flu, and the AI is now determining that, hey, you came to the reception and you seem to have flu. That's what I proposed to the doctor. And in this case, it says that because you're sneezing, you have headache, but you are not tired, then my conclusion is still that you do have a flu. The point in this one is that when you have hundreds of parameters that are actually used in making the decision, the question is that how do you visualize those parameters to the human who might take an action based on the AI's prediction? And also, I think when it comes to the explaining AI, there is going to be a legal obligations in a certain industries or sectors to actually provide to the customer the explanation that what happened when the decision about, as an example from insurance claim, was what data was used, how was the decision done. So I think this is something that any AI, especially facing consumers, but also in a more business-to-business environment, thinking about creating trust for AI, because if we don't understand, we are not going to use the output of an AI. If the operator in a paper mill thinks that the predictive model is not right, because I've been 20 years and the AI is now saying that this will be broken in the next hour, I might not believe it, and consequences might be fatal. Of course, next time he would know. But anyway, explaining AI is going to be critical in accelerating the adoption in any organization. So with this, I conclude here that the main points was that I believe AI is for people. That's what we work for. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't automate people away, but let's leverage the AI in the organizations for the benefit of developing AI to become better and better and releasing us from the mechanical and non-productive work. Thank you very much for your attention.